welcome to Revelations of a Delusional Knitter. I'm Angela, your host. This is episode 147, and it is Wednesday, March 29th, 2017. I'm looking at the computer. I don't know what day it is. Updates and housekeeping. The show is on YouTube, iTunes, delusionalknitter.com, and I also embed a video in the Ravelry group, Revelations of a Delusional Knitter. If you are not already a member, come on over and join. And I am also on Instagram, and everywhere I am Delusional Knitter. Declarations. What's been going on? I'm pretty tired today, so good luck to you. I had overtime last night until 2 a.m., so I went to bed around 3, and I still woke up at like 8:30, so yeah. And I've just done a couple of things around the house, and I ran out to do an errand, and now we're here, and my laundry's washing, and I'm gonna do some other things today, and then probably take a nap, because I'm already done. We'll see how that goes. I did get an up to, that's one of those like step tracker kind of a things, and it's pretty cool. It doesn't have a display, so it links to your phone with an app, and that's where you see the steps and everything, and you can put in your food and other workouts and all kinds of stuff like that. It is a tiny bit too big. I have super, super skinny wrists, but it does fit, and I don't even feel it anymore now that it's on. So that's fine. But it's really cool, and when I was looking at them, a lot of people raved about the app that came with the Up products, and it is a really cool app. It's really fun, and it's easy to use, and I like it a lot. So far so good. It's going well, and it got me to get a lot more steps in. It was almost like a game, like you want to level up, you know. And it was funny because last night at work, since I was there for 12 hours, I would just get up and like walk around the room. The room's pretty big, and but that particular time, since I've had it, I haven't had it that long. It averages your steps, so that you have an average for like the week or whatever. The more I was walking around the room, the average was going up because it was calculating that day. So I would walk around and then it would bump up, and I'm like, but what? It finally leveled out where I beat it, but it was like, oh, it was crazy. The other day, the other dispatcher had gone to the bathroom, and when she came back in, I was walking around in circles, and she's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I need to get up more steps! I showed her my wrist. It's just silly. But it's fun, and it's getting me moving a lot more, because when I first put it on, I was only getting about 1,000 and something steps, which is like so low. And now I'm up to like 2,500. So even just that stupid, silly little thing, looking at the app, it gets you off your butt, you know? I was laughing the other day. My friends, Scott and Beth, Beth was the one I made the Pinguino mitts for, the orange and black mitts. And she's nicknamed the Penguin. That's what Scott calls her. And he sent me a picture of her, and she had her mitts on, and she was in all black. She had black pants and a black hoodie on. And she had orange shoes on. So Scott was like, outfitted the penguins! It was really funny. It was cute. That's what I'm saying. That's why they're so knit-worthy, because I get photos like that. And I also got a photo of the penguin pillow playing guitar. I should have brought my phone in here. I'm going to have to pause at some point anyway, because the camera's going to go over, so hopefully I'll remember. I'll grab my phone and I can show you that one. Or I can embed it in the post. I have very good news. Nico is doing perfectly fine and has been for several weeks now. I haven't recorded in quite a while, but he is totally back to himself and seems perfectly fine. So whatever that was, the antibiotic worked for him, and he's been very good. So I'm just still keeping an eye on him, but he's been doing very, very well, and he's back to his normal, horrible, abrasive, annoying self, which is fine with me. Like, he woke me up at 8:30 this morning. That's why I was awake, because he kept poking me. So, revelations. I do have some FOs to show you. I finished my Making Christmas socks, and I'm very happy with them. That's how they came out. So, this was Play It Life Fiber Arts. The colorway is Making Christmas, which is a Nightmare Before Christmas reference. And I'm super happy. This is the Fish Lips Kiss heel with how the heel came out on the socks with the color right there. That's really, really cool. And they fit. I had tried them before, and like I've said before, sometimes I can do socks that are 64 stitches and they fit fine. Sometimes they're too big. So I went back, I ripped these out, back down to the toe, did 60 stitches, and now they fit really well. That yarn was a little bit thicker, so that's why. If it's thinner yarn, then I can do 64 and they fit fine. That also was stash from December of 2012. That yarn has been in my stash that long. I do have quite a bit left over, so I don't know if I'm going to do something else with it or put it in the sock yarn blanket stash or what. I don't know, but there's quite a bit left. It was a regular skein. I typically use like 60% of a regular skein to make socks, so I always have some left over. Rosencrantz, that was the brioche hat. I don't even know if I was working on it when I recorded the last episode. But anyway, Rosencrantz is a brioche hat. And I used that Luet Gems worsted that I got to review. So it's in lavender and mint. This pattern is awesome. It's very, very well written. And it even specified at the beginning that it's really not a beginner brioche pattern. Like, for example, it's not going to explain to you how to knit brioche. If you have no idea how to knit brioche, you should look it up separately. And I have only ever done brioche before in Exploration Station by Stephen West, and it was just one section of the shawl, and it was flat. But the pattern is written so well, and the stitches are explained so well in the description, that it's really, really easy. I did have to pay a lot of attention at the beginning because I wasn't quite understanding what was happening with the stitches. Once I got further along and understood, I had even dropped some or skipped some or whatever, and I was able to correct them without unknitting, so that was pretty cool. So this is Rosencrantz, and it's gorgeous. It's a really gorgeous pattern with the flowers there, and then it's all brioche, and it comes up to the top there. And the crown is really nice, and technically it's reversible, I guess. I mean, you see my ends that I wove on the inside, but technically brioche is reversible, so that's pretty cool. And it came out, I didn't use the recommended weight of yarn, but I think I adjusted my needle size a little bit. Like, this is light worsted, and I think it called for DK, but it came out exactly how it should have, so I'm very happy with that. So that was a lot of fun. I really like brioche. Before I thought it was kind of a clunky looking, you know, because it is like a double knit. You're doing 2 strands of yarn. But with that hat pattern, it really looks nice. Alright, what I'm working on now. I am working on the Rivendell Smoke Ring, and that's a cowl by Susan Pandorf. And I was doing it for the Tolkien Along on the Blaine Fleece and Fiber board for March and April. And I have it in my Hobbit bag. And I was super psyched because when I started this project, there was a Hobbit marathon on TV that my husband and I were watching, so I had my Hobbit bag and my Hobbit yarn, because technically this yarn is from the Unique Sheep, and it's the Fellowship. It's a gradient set. So one skein I've already wound up. But it was a gradient set called the Fellowship, and I have a little dragon stitch marker, so I was super happy. It was all hobbitized. And there's my dragon stitch marker, or not. And it's coming out really good. This is a really cool pattern. It's very pretty. It's hard to show you on the needles, and it's inside out. But it's a really nice pattern. I don't think I brought it up on my tablet to show you, but I will later. So it's a nice lacy cowl, and I dropped my yarn. The other day I figured out, because it only calls for like 300 yards and I have like 380 or something here, so I figured out how many rows I can do per skein in order to use all the colors and not just have like the last skein be a tiny amount. So I have written that down so I know what I'm doing. And that's going well. And then the other thing I'm working on is for Hogwarts at Ravelry. We're having a Tri-Wizard tournament in between rotations, and so you have to enter a project that is either in support of Durmstrang or Beauxbatons and the Goblet of Fire. So you can do blue for Beauxbatons, red for Durmstrang, and white or gold for the goblet. Or you can represent your own house, but if you represent your own house, you need 3 colors, because you need your 2 house colors plus white or gold for the goblet. So I am making a sheep. It's a Susan B. Anderson pattern. And I'm doing, the pattern actually gives you 3 variations of the sheep that you can do. I am doing the colorwork one because it uses up 3 colors. So I'm doing the colorwork one over there, and I'm doing it in gray and green for Slytherin and white for the Goblet, and that will work out perfectly. So I was excited about that. And we only have about a week to do it. So I have the body done. This purple is just waste yarn. I have the body done, and this part will flatten up once it's stuffed. So I have the colorwork done. And this waste yarn is where I have split off for the head. So I'm going to seam the back together after I stuff it, and then finish the head, and then I just have legs. So that should be done quickly. And I have it in my sheep bag. I'm very coordinated. Very coordinated lately. I have it in my sheep bag. So that's also fun. That's a quick one. I just started it yesterday, I think. It was technically the day before, but it was like 11:30 p.m., so it was pretty much yesterday. Let's see, what else do I have? That's all I've been knitting on. I've been pretty monogamous. Usually I have a couple of projects going at a time, and I kind of rotate through them. Right now I'm sticking to 1 or 2 and really focusing on that project until it's done, and I'm happy with that. String theory, I do have an FO. Blaine Fleece and Fiber had the Icelandic spin along, because a couple of her sheep are Icelandic crosses. So for that one, and it's actually her sheep that I spun, I had 4 ounces of black velvet in my stash, and this was a totally different spin for me because with Icelandic you really can't put a lot of twist into it, which is usually what I do, and because it turns to like twiny rope if you put too much twist in it, so you have to really let it go and just fly onto the wheel. And I'm very happy with my results. I did not wash it yet, and the only reason it's split into 2 skeins is because plied it wouldn't all fit on the bobbin, so I had to split it up into 2 skeins. But here's what I got, and it came out really, really gorgeous. It's nice and light and fluffy, and it's pretty even though the singles weren't really, really even, so I was very, very happy with that. Then I had a little bit left over. I just 3-plied it. This was left on like one of the bobbins or something, so that's cool. I was very happy with that. Bunny fiber. I have the little guy. Oh, I have an updated picture of him. I would bring him in here, but I think I told you before, he does not sit still, and he does not really like to be picked up. So I got a picture of him the other day. He's so cute. He's so cute. That's what he looks like now that his fur's grown out and he's bigger. And by bigger, he's really not very big. He's only like 3 pounds, if that. I don't even know. I didn't actually weigh him, but that's what the breed full grown is. So I was brushing him, and every time I brush him, I get some fiber on the brush. And some of it's, I don't even want to call mats. They're more like, what are those things? Neps. Like when you have fiber that's neppy. And those are easily picked out. And I was like, I should probably stop throwing this in the trash and actually collect it. So this is probably only about a month of fiber. That's how much fiber I get off him in a month just brushing him. And it's only got a little bit of hay and stuff in it and a little bit of naps, but it's perfectly fine fiber. If I combed this, it would be lovely. So I just collect it. Every time I brush them, I just throw it in this baggie here and keep collecting it, and we'll see how much I get. Scrolls. Scrolls from now on is not just going to be a book review. I'm going to do a review of something every episode, or at least that's my goal. Spindle, tool, book, magazine, whatever. So for this one, on my Rivendell smoke ring, I am using Chiaogoo needles, which I've had for a long time, but I really, really like these needles, so I wanted to talk about those. And I learned some things because I looked them up. First of all, to see how to pronounce this properly. So it's Chiaogoo, and that actually means something specific. So the 2 brothers that founded the business and made the needles and stuff back in the 1980s in China, their mom was a knitter, and they had her test everything before they finished it and made it final. So Mama Zhang is their inspiration for this, and what Chiaogoo means is highly skillful, crafty lady. So that's pretty cool. And usually, oh yeah, you can't really see it, but there is a lady right there. So that was an interesting fun fact for the day. So I have two of the different kinds. I only have the reds. They do make like bamboo, and they make crochet hooks, and they make some other things. I like the reds. And I do have the lace, and these are the regular ones. For a price point, they're like medium for needles. Like I think it's like $8.50 or so for a set, which is totally reasonable because they are super high quality. They're stainless steel. They have a steel cable that's covered in nylon. So underneath the nylon there is actually a steel cable, and it's got no memory. And what that means is a lot of times if you do like magic loop or things like that with your cable, it gets a bend in it from where you kept bending it to move the stitches around. These don't have any memory at all. They'll just go slack again once you're done with them. They have super smooth joins. I have never had anything catch on any of them. The tips are pointy enough to be really nice, but they're not super pointy, like you don't stab yourself with them. And the lace ones are a little bit pointier, but they're not so pointy that they split your yarn. And the yarn I'm using on that one has the potential to be splitty, and I have yet to, maybe once or twice I split it, but it was, you know, my fault, and I was doing like a slip knit or something, but it really doesn't split your yarn at all. It's rounded enough, but pointy enough to get in the stitches. So that's what I really like about them. And also, these sizes are laser imprinted on the needle, so they won't wear off. You know, sometimes when they're stamped on there, when the stitches keep going over, it eventually wears off, and you can't see the size anymore. So that's not the case with these. It's laser imprinted. It will never come off. So if you have never tried Chiaogoo, I highly recommend them. Like I said, they're not super expensive, and for the price that they are, it's totally worth it. So those are Chiaogoo. And that's our review for today. And I'm probably gonna, I still have 10 minutes. So, Testaments. I have a lot of things, but I'm not going to show them all to you. So the first one that is super cool, so Scott and Beth and I and my husband go to that farmer's market every year, but like I said before, there's more than one day that's a fiber day. But we usually only go once, because it's kind of a long drive for us, but Scott and Beth live a lot closer to there. So the other day was the second one, and I got a text in the morning when I got up, and he said, hey, that spindle maker you were looking for the last time is going to be there today, so we'll grab you a spindle. And I was like, oh, that's awesome, you don't have to do that. And they're like, no, we're going to do that, because, he was just saying that because, like, I made Beth mitts, I gave his mom a shawl, all these things I do. He's like, we're going to get you a present. And I was like, okay. So I told him what weight I generally like and said, you can pick it out, I don't care. This is what I like for a weight that's, around this weight on 1 ounce, but you do whatever you want. So they got me one, and I was so excited. And they got me a bird's eye maple, and it's gorgeous. And it is exactly 1 ounce, so I do now have a Bosworth. So I was super excited, and yeah, it's really a lovely spindle. So that's that. Then I have, I got some Slip Stitch Studio bags. I was just poking around on the internet, and I saw they had some Club Extras, and I think this was the one for this month, but I got a, what's this one? Sock Plus, which I think is my favorite size that I usually like from her, and this one is Firefly. So I was super excited. I'm not sure what the strawberry reference is on here. I get everything else. I'm going to have to go back and watch again, because it's been many years, but it's a Firefly one. So that's super awesome. And the inside is this polka dot, and then there's a pocket with the main fabric in there. And then I got Rocco. She was doing, I think it was 90s cartoons, so there's a couple of different cartoons that she was doing, and I got Rocco because I love Rocco. Rocco was awesome. I used to love watching that. We have DVDs now because we're adults. But it's Rocco. It's got Heather and what's his name? Filbert. So super cool. And Spunky. Is Spunky on that side? Yeah. And same thing. It's the same polka dot, but inside it's got the pocket. So super happy with those. And I'm sorry, I have like fiber floating around the room today. Blaine Fleece and Fiber. For March and April, she's donating all of her proceeds to, I think it's the Midwest. I'm not sure exactly where it is. It says on her shop. to farmers that have lost their livestock and some property due to wildfires. So, of course, I'm going to order some stuff, right? She had something different this time. Pretty purple panda. I'm not sure how well this is going to show up. So it's panda bear, but dyed purple. It's a gorgeous shade of purple. 2 ounces. And then I had so much fun spinning black velvet. I wanted to get some more black velvet, so I got 2 more ounces of black velvet. And I think what I'm going to do is ply them together and have kind of a marled yarn. Then we did a little tribute to Mikey. So it's there and back again with Mikey. And it's a lovely blue, yellow, and red. So I got 2 ounces of that. It's gorgeous. And I think what I'm going to do with this, since it's all Tolkien this year, I'm going to spin this up on my Mirkwood supported spindles. So it's the whole Hobbit experience. And that should be fun. Plus, it's Mikey, so I'd like it to last a long time. I got my Into the World shipments. I got February and March here. So February was Zephyr. It's Polworth. Gorgeous, as usual. Nice spring colors. And then March was Superwash Targhee. Oh, this one, sorry. Oh, Zephyr, I told you. This one's Herding Cats, and it's also gorgeous. I was so excited to see this one because I love Targhee, and these colors are just so perfect for spring, if it ever comes here. I was even wondering, because Polworth and Targhee are kind of similar. Don't these two look like they go pretty well together? Like, this one's just a kind of a muted version of this. So I'm even wondering if I should spin these up together. I might do that. I'm not sure yet. I got a new sheep. So behind me, and over here too, are some. I collect sheep. Because why not, right? Spinning, yarn, fiber. So there's a couple of sheep back there. Every once in a while, if I'm at CVS or Walmart, usually around Easter, I'll see some stuffed sheep and I'll grab one. So I was at Walmart the other day doing some shopping and I saw this. So I grabbed this one and he's joined the herd. He's usually sits over there, but I pulled him off to show you. So he's super cute. He's like $3. So yeah, I grabbed that at Walmart. We finally saw my mom for Christmas and she got me some goodies. She got me a lot of goodies, but these were the ones specifically that I asked for that are spinning related. So John Galen, I have that purple singing bowl, and I asked my mom, actually when she handed me it and I unwrapped the box and saw what it was from, I was like, oh god, did I ask her for that and then I bought it? No, this is a plain singing bowl, so, and it's got the ring. And this one's also smaller than the other one, so that's cool. And I don't know if it's going to do it, but not if I'm holding it, apparently. Yeah, there you go. That's what it's saying. Actually, it'll make noise when you tap it or spin it. That's why it's a singing bowl, because it actually does that. And the other one is from On the Turn. I have a couple of her spindles, and it's a lap bowl. And I like this because I'm not a very tall person, so those really tall pedestal lap bowls are just ridiculous for me. It sits like 6 inches above my lap. It just does not work. So this one's a perfect size. And the wood is absolutely gorgeous. It's grapefruit and olive. And now, I don't know which is which, but it's really gorgeous wood. I absolutely love it. And she does such wonderful work with her turning and her polishing and everything. And her prices are so inexpensive for what she does. So that's On the Turn. And you will see her stuff later this year when she, actually I think it's December, that she's the spindle maker for the Yarn Therapy Zone. So that's all the goodies I'm going to share with you. Like I said, there's more. I really have a problem. I really need to join a group. Intentions, Delusional Knitter Designs. I do have the yarn for the sock pattern that I'm going to work on, and I'm going to start working on that soon. I should really wind it up today. I think she sent me 3 samples, and they're the same colorway, they're just a little different, but I think I know which one I want to use now. It's hard because it's been really cloudy and dreary out, so I was trying to wait so I could see them in different lights, but every time I look at them, I keep picking the same one, so I think I'm ready to go on that. Okay, now I think I'll pause the camera, because now I'm going to run out of time. So, I will be right back. Okay, moving on. Heresy. I've been reading a ton. I found this really cool thing on Goodreads. There's a lot of groups. They're kind of hard to follow, like the threads. Like Ravelry has really set up their forums very well, and they're very easy to follow. Goodreads is more like the old version of online threads where, like, you don't always... You always, like, start at the top every time you click a link, and you gotta scroll back through, and it's not easy to match up conversations. It's just one linear line kind of a thing. However, there are threads for advanced reader copies and read for review books, which means that the author gives you a copy, and all they ask in return is that you leave an honest review on the book. So, I've been finding a lot of cool stuff with that. New authors and stuff like that, which I'll talk about in books, but I wanted to throw that out there if you're on Goodreads. And they're pretty much on, like, almost every group, like, topical group. Like, I'm, Apocalypse, wherever, or whenever, I forget, is, like, sci-fi and post-apocalyptic dystopian things. And, you know, there's other groups where it's just, locale or, like, whatever, like Ravelry. And, a lot of them all have that, like, here's where authors can throw out if they want to give out copies and blah, blah, blah. So that's really cool. I've been finding a lot of good stuff in there. I wanted to mention Blaine Fleece and Fiber. So right now we're doing the Tolkien along through April. There's an Even Star along all year. Even Star is another Susan Pandorf design. If you've never seen it, it's a huge circular shawl that I have yarn for somewhere in this house that I need to go find. And it's all year because it's such a huge, complicated shawl. For May and June, she's going to do a Fleece and Fiber along, Adventures in Fleece and Fiber along, and she will be offering April 2nd in her shop a ton of 1 ounce different fibers. So if you wanted to do that. So it's pretty much like a fiber study, but she's going to offer a ton of different fibers that you might not usually be able to find in 1 ounce increments so that you can try them out. So that's really cool. I'm excited about that. I have plenty in my house, but I'm probably going to grab some from her because, again, I think she's donating the proceeds. Let's see. Knitpicks gradient. Did you see Knitpicks has a gradient now? I saw that the other day. I don't have any. I haven't ordered any. It does look nice. The only thing I will say, so they have gradients now. They're $16.99 for 100 gram cake. So, you know, they look like your standard gradient yarns. The only thing I noticed from pictures that I've seen of it, though, is that I'm guessing this is machine dyed. Obviously, they're not indie dyers. There is quite a line of demarcation between the colors. It doesn't gradually fade. However, the colorways and everything look awesome. But as you can see, here's a sample of one of them. That's very clearly a line between the two colors. It doesn't fade slowly in the progression. But that's pretty cool that they added that, like I said, and there's a ton of colors and stuff like that. So if anybody has tried it, let me know, because I'm interested to see what you thought of it. Might as well leave this open. For the June swap on my board, remember we did the ornament swap last year, so I asked everybody if they wanted to do a secondary one like halfway through the year, and everybody that participated in the ornament one said yes. So we're going to do that, and I'm going to post threads soon for sign-ups and with all the info and everything like that, because I really like to have you have plenty of time to get your swap stuff together. So it's almost April, so we'll probably have the sign-ups go through like April, whatever, 15th. It's about 2 weeks, you know. And then I'll do the partners and everything like that, and then you'll have until June 3rd to mail it. Or somewhere around there. So anyway, you'll have like 6 weeks to get your stuff together, 8 to 6 weeks to get your stuff together and mail it out. And I thought of doing a stuffy, like a little stuffy, but I'm also going to post that on the sign up and see what people want to do, because I'm sure there are some people that don't want to knit stuffies or whatever, but they're generally very easy, and there are so many patterns out there where you really don't have to do a ton of little tiny tubular stuff. So we'll see what you have to say. Ravelry patterns. I have a few to show you. Let me see what I got here. The first one I had was the Dicky Decky. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong. It's like German or something. which stands for Big Afghan in English, and it was just a, I don't know that it matters, you can, any leftovers, but you'd want to use all the same weight, you know. But it was a really cool way to do squares, and I like that a lot. That's really cool. So it's free. It's just another way to use up leftovers and stuff like that. I was so excited. I found a long time ago when the first movie, Rogue One at all. The other Star Wars movie that came out, what the heck was it called? Ugh, I like own a copy. Anyway, the first new Star Wars movie that came out like the year before last, with BB-8. There were a lot of crochet patterns for BB-8, and I'm not really big on crochet. Somebody has come up with a knitted version of BB-8, and it's free. Not that it matters, I would have paid for it, but I was so excited because I really didn't, I had the crochet one in my queue forever, but I really didn't want to crochet it. I really prefer to knit it, and I probably could have figured it out on my own, but you know, there are only so many hours in the day, so somebody has come up with a knit version. I was so excited. What does this call for? And it's worsted, so that's super simple. And I wonder how big it ends up coming out. I wonder if it says 6 inches tall by 4 inches wide. It's fairly sizable. So if you didn't want one so big, you could just use smaller yarn and have a smaller one. But that was cool. And then another one I found while I was poking around, it's the Soft Yak Slouch Hat. And this one is also free. And it's for Rowan's Soft Yak DK yarn. But I thought this was a really cool pattern. It looks really cool. It looks pretty simple, but it's a really cool looking hat. I like it a lot. So that's the other one I have for you. Those are all the patterns. What else? I thought I pulled something else up here. I guess not. I thought I had something else to show you, but I guess not. Okay, so moving on. Delusional Jabber. Reading. I finished, I don't know if there's duplicates, and I apologize. I don't think so, though, because I have my other show notes there. I finished The Girl in the Train, which I really liked. It wasn't my typical genre, but I do like mysteries and stuff like that, and it was really well written. Now, I listened to the audio version, so reading it in print, I still would have liked it. I'm just not sure I would have loved it. The audio version had narrators with English accents, and this took place in England, so that really, you know, made it that much better for me. And I do recommend it, though, if you like mysteries and stuff like that. It was very good. The Art of Racing in the Rain is an excellent book. I don't even know what genre to call it. Essentially, it's about a family, mom, dad. Actually, it starts before they even had a child, so it's really a long section of their life, but, you know, compressed into this little story. And they have a kid, they have a dog. The whole book is from the dog's point of view. It's really cool. They have a child, something catastrophic happens, I don't want to give away any spoilers, so one of the spouses dies. And then the in-laws try to take the daughter away from the one that's left. And it's just this whole story. But like I said, it's from the perspective of the dog's point of view, who speaks like a human. You know, it makes a lot of sense and everything like that. But he can't talk to the people. He can only tell you what he's feeling and thinking about the situations that he's seeing and, you know, the heartache of his family and everything like that. So it was really, really good. And that was another one I listened to, so... Then I have those ones on Goodreads I was mentioning, like the advanced reader copies and the read for reviews. So these are not, like, you know, well-known published authors. These are people just starting out or whatever. One of them was 7 Days Dead, which is a zombie book. Very cool story, pretty cool concept, moved along, very fast-paced, but it read like a first draft. There were a lot of errors in it, so it's kind of difficult to read at times. But otherwise, it was a really cool story. The Kane Conspiracy, which was an audio book, actually, that I listened to. Not my genre at all, but I said, hey, I'll give it a try, you know? So the only way I can describe it is if you like cozy mysteries, but you also like things like 24 and NCIS and like detective shows and things like that, squish them together, and it's a cozy spy novel. That's what it is, essentially. It's short. It's pretty short. Quick read, fast-paced, but really, really cool. And there's a whole series. There's a couple of books in it. So that one's really cool. I will link to those too, because I can't think of the author's name off the top of my head. But also, I'm on Goodreads, so they're all there too. And the last one I just finished, which will be one of my top 10 all-time favorites forever. It's called Rim War, and it's book 1. And it's very well written. It reads like a published, edited novel. I found a couple of mistakes in it, and it's funny because I emailed the author and I said, hey, I'm about halfway through the book, very few and far between, but I've been picking up on typos, and they're really minor, little things, but if you'd like, I'll highlight the rest of the book and let you know. He was very nice about it, and he said, oh yes, I would love that, thank you so much. So I did, and I sent him the second half of the book, and I found like 3 mistakes. So yeah, it's really not bad, and honestly, if you weren't looking hard enough, you'd glance right over them, because they're just really minor typos. But that's Rim War by Caden Seaton. And the story is so different from anything I've ever read. So it's in the future. It's on Earth. People live longer because it's in the future, so they have, made scientific advances. So once you hit 105, you have to go into a federally funded nursing home. So you find out later that Earth has made an agreement with an alien race to help them in this war that's not at Earth yet, but it's coming this way. And the elderly people end up being enlisted as soldiers, and there's more to it that I don't want to give away spoilers, but it's all from the perspective, and it's not silly at all, it's very interesting, of elderly people, and I thought that was so cool. You put these elderly people in space, because they're not like young people, they're kind of set in their ways and have wisdom and worldview and things like that, so it's really awesome. And the technology is described, just enough to make it real, but not overboard. So it was a lot of fun. It was really a lot of fun. Like I said, that will be one of my all-time favorite books ever. And he is working on more for the series. TV. I finished Breaking Bad. It was really good. I never knew. I don't know why I stopped watching it before, but that was awesome. I can't wait for Better Call Saul to come back on. Prison Break is coming back. That was one of my other all-time favorites ever. Mostly because I love the two brothers. Because they're just gorgeous, both of them. But no, it was a really cool story. I always enjoyed that one. So I have no idea. I haven't read anything. All I saw was the ad and the date, and then I didn't want to read anything else because I don't want to know. I want to be surprised, but I was so happy to see that coming back. And what I'm currently watching, The Walking Dead, of course. Shameless, I dropped off on. Shameless, I mentioned before, was really funny. And then towards like the end seasons, it just gets kind of sad because when it was funny stuff in the beginning, like, Fiona and the family, they always get into trouble and nothing ever seems to go right for her, relationship-wise, job-wise, everything. And in the beginning, it's kind of lighthearted and funny. And towards the end, it's just kind of sad. So I stopped watching that because it was making me very sad. I'll go back to it, but I just wasn't in the mood for being sad and depressed. The Detour is back on. I'm caught up on that. I love that one. It's just totally my sense of humor. It's hysterical. Designated Survivor with Kiefer Sutherland. I'm catching back up on that one. That's another really good one. Bates Motel I'm caught up on. I have something to say about that in a second. And Samurai Jack is back. Samurai Jack is a cartoon. But it's an adult cartoon. Not in humor or anything. It's not really... I mean, kids can watch it. That's fine. But it's really... very artistic is what I'm saying. That adults can appreciate the artistic part of it. It's just so well done. And the background music is so good. And it's just a very artsy kind of a cartoon animation. So Samurai Jack is back. My husband's caught up. I only watched the first episode. I think there's only 2. Which was awesome. Really excellent. So excited to see Samurai Jack back. Movies. I saw Suicide Squad the other day, and that was a fun one. That was really good. My coworker, who's into comics and stuff like that, said to me one day, just whatever, we were sitting there, he was like, hey, did you watch Suicide Squad yet? And I was like, well, no, I gotta rent it if something's like $5.99, I'll wait till it's like $2.99 to rent, whatever. And he's like, I have the DVD. And I was like, oh, well then yeah. So he brought it in. So I watched that, it was really good. I watched The Girl on the Train, I did rent that once I finished the book, and it was very, very well done compared to the book. It really was. And, oh crap, I can't think of her name. The main actress, well, whatever her name is. I know it too, I just can't think of it right now. She did excellent as the main character. She really did. I don't know how you play, kudos to these people that can do this. The main character in that book is an alcoholic, and she's pretty much like trashed all the time, like out in public. Completely trashed. She walks around with a water bottle that is completely vodka. It's just straight vodka. And she just drinks it all day. So, I don't know how you can play a drunk that well. Like, there's, you know what I mean? And really pull it off to really look, maybe they take a few shots before they start the scene. I don't know, but it's really, she did an excellent job. In celebration of St. Patrick's Day, I watched Boondock Saints. I have seen that before, but it's been many, many, many years. And Norman Reedus is one of the main characters in that, and he speaks with an Irish accent, which just makes me flutter inside. And he's a young Norman Reedus. Not that he doesn't look good now, but you know what I mean? So I watched that, and it was very, very good. I watched it so many years ago, I don't think I realized how good it actually was. And I don't know what genre those movies are. There's another one. I can't think of what it's called. But they're in a particular class by themselves. I love those ones. I really like them. Whatever it is. I don't know if that made any sense to you whatsoever. I really don't, but I think some of you might know what I'm talking about. So that was fun, and I was looking up stuff because I'm a dork, and I do things like this. That's why I like reading books and watching movies to compare and contrast. I'll talk about that in a minute. I was looking up stuff on Boondock Saints, and the whole movie was filmed in 32 days. Can you believe that? That's crazy. That is crazy. It's just amazing to me that it came out that well. So the other thing that's related to all this, Bates Motel. So the last episode for Bates Motel, without giving away any spoilers, in case you watch that, because I don't want to do that to you, this episode pretty much covered half the movie. So they got up to the infamous shower scene. That's all I'm going to say, because I don't want to ruin anything for you. So I decided, I watched that episode last night at work, and I had overtime until 2 o'clock in the morning, so I'm like, okay. So then I was like, you know what, I'd really like to watch Psycho again. I don't even know that I've watched the whole movie before anyway, but I'm very, I'm familiar with the concept and all the things, and I know I've seen parts of it before, but I was like, I really want to watch Psycho again after seeing that, shower scene in the whole episode. So I found a copy of Psycho to watch, and I was watching it at work, and, they're doing an excellent job with Bates Motel. I always thought they were, and I really, really like the movie. But to see the show, I like the movie too. But to see it to watch the movie again, and see all the tiny little details they picked up on and put into the television show is amazing. And Freddie Highmore, who plays Norman Bates, just doing such a wonderful job. There's sometimes you'll watch him and you'll kind of think like, well, where did he get that from? Or why is he doing that? And why did he think Norman Bates would want to do that? Then you watch the movie again and you're like, oh my god, he's dead on. Like, he's so dead on to that original character. It's so phenomenal. Because it was funny, in this episode, this isn't a spoiler, Norman kept eating, it was actually candy corn. In the TV show, on the manager's desk, there was a little dish of candy corn, and he kept eating them while he was, like, nervously talking to people, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? Like, he never is, like, chewing gum or eating things. That's not really a normal thing for this character in the show. And, then when I watched Psycho again, I'm like, oh my god, he's doing it! They specifically did that on purpose. Things like that you pick up on, little things. It was really cool. But if you haven't watched that yet, no spoiler again, like I said, but if you haven't watched that episode and you watched Bates Motel, you're going to love the shower scene. It was really cool. And And I think that's all I have to talk about. But yeah, that's what I mean. I'm such a dork. I love to like that totally made my day yesterday, seeing that episode and then watching Psycho and comparing and contrasting all the tiny little details. I love doing that stuff. Like my husband thinks I'm nuts because I read the book and then I'll watch the movie. Sometimes he doesn't really read. So we'll watch a movie together and I'm like, oh, well, they skipped that part. Oh, what'd they leave that out for? Oh, that's cool. I like that. Like the whole time. And he's like, oh my god, I married a nerd! So anyway, it's one of my favorite things to do ever. And that was really fun. So, I think I covered everything in my show notes. I do notice that I skipped something in spinning. Why? Because I didn't write it down. The spin I was doing a long time ago on Snyder Spindles, I showed before. I have one done. So I just split this fiber into thirds and I'm spinning it on 3 spindles. So there's one turtle that's done. Here's the second one, but I've been spinning on it, so all I have left is this. So that one should be done soon. And then I have a third spindle. That's the other third of the fiber that I will spin up. And I still haven't decided, I mean, it doesn't matter. They're turtles, they can just sit. If I want to 3-ply all 3 together, or just like do a long chain ply, or what. I don't know what I want to do with it. There's really no plan. So that's it for everything. Now I think I've shown you everything. So, I thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Like I said, I'm sorry, I'm tired. I don't know what happens every time I do the show. I kick up dust and like little pieces of fiber with all the things I touch, and then I'm like dying halfway through the show. So I will post on the Ravelry group. I didn't show my Bujo, my bullet journal. Don't forget, there is a thread specifically on the group just for bullet journaling if you want to share your spreads or ask questions or whatever. There's a couple of us in that group that are pretty familiar with a lot of the stuff, and they're all happy to help you out and give you links and, you know, suggestions for products and notebooks and stuff like that. So if you're interested, or if you do a Bujo, come on over and check that thread out. In the group in general. And come on over and post on the thread for this episode with your comments, like, you know, how crazy I am right now. No. I think I'm doing better than the last one where I couldn't even think of a word at all, but yeah, I'm just, the overtime at work. And even if they hire somebody right now, it's still going to be like months until they're released from training, unless they're a lateral transfer from another department. Like, I was only in training for 2 weeks. But typically people who have never dispatched before can be in training for like 2 months to 6 months, depending on how they're doing. So, yeah, I'm getting a little tired of it. But I have today and tomorrow off. I'm so excited. Because typically, recently, I've been having to work on one of my days off. So I only get 1 day off. And on that 1 day off, you know, I'm doing my laundry, I'm going to the store, I'm doing this, that, and then the next day I go back to work. Today, I just did a little bit. I'm doing laundry, I did an errand, I'm doing the podcast. Then tomorrow, I gotta run out to a couple of stores, but it's only gonna take me a short time, and then I have the rest of the day to do whatever I want. So that's good. And today, I'm done. I'm doing my laundry, and that's it. And I'm gonna just do whatever, spin, knit, whatever for the rest of the day, and have a nice, relaxing day. The weather is kind of getting better. It's still pretty chilly around here. In the last couple of days, it's been raining and cloudy. We haven't seen the sun in a couple of days. Today it poked out, but now it's cloudy again, so I don't know. I'm just waiting for spring. I'm so sick of being cold. I'm always cold and freezing. And it's chilly. And like this type of temperature, it's just enough that our heat won't kick on. And I don't want to turn it up because I don't want to pay for it. But it's not enough that it's warm in here. I'm still cold. So I'm waiting for spring and for it to get warm. I hope you're having good weather, because I'm sick of snow. It's almost melted from the last storm. We had like a 2-foot storm before. Oh, and I had to drive to work in it and home from it. And then the driveway wasn't plowed when I got home. There was about 4 feet at the end of the driveway. And yes, I have a big truck, but I was a little concerned about not getting through the end. So I drove around the block a few times, and then I got so aggravated, and there's, the way the driveway is, over here is like the neighbor's fence across the street, and then there's a bridge over the brook, and on my side is a telephone pole. So to get into my driveway, it's a pretty sharp turn. So you can't really angle very good to go through the snow. You really have to cut the wheel fast. And so I finally just said, you know what? I need to get in the driveway, I need to get home, I need to go to bed. I didn't want to block it because we have a shared drive, and I would be blocking the plowman from coming to plow it later. So I finally just got so frustrated that I came down the hill and gunned it and went, and almost landed in the neighbor's yard, but then corrected and went back down the driveway because it's about 300 feet. And my truck totally made it through all the snow, no problem whatsoever. So I was happy about that. Now I know how much I can actually get through because I haven't had the truck that long or gone through that many storms. And I've never tried to go through that much snow with it, so I was happy that it made it through. But yeah, we are really looking forward to spring here and all of this snow melting. It's almost gone, like I said, because it's been raining, but there's still snow around and it's almost April. I hate it. But I hope you're having good weather where you are. And as always, thank you for joining me, and happy knitting and spinning.